Everyone, I'm Kim with Abundant Life Tarot. Welcome back and thank you for joining me. We are embarking on a new little series surrounding the court cards found in the tarot. And, I asked my group of folks who work with me in the tarot study, and right now we're working with the Light Seers Tarot, what would they like to see as the video content to support them in this particular tarot study. And quite a few of you have mentioned you would like to learn the court cards a bit better. So I hope that you find a lot of good information in this series that will help you to feel comfortable with them when you encounter them in your readings. I understand that the courts can be difficult when you first start working with tarot. But as you start to work with them, as you start to understand them, they will be a welcome sight on your reading table. So please definitely watch all of the series. We're going to cover, we're going to first do an intro. This is what this is, an intro into the tarot. I have some slides I'm going to go through, and then the next videos are going to be for the individual suits. So we'll have the wands, the cups, the swords, and the pentacles. And then lastly, I'm going to show you a fun way of getting to know your court cards. So you don't want to miss any of the videos in this series, okay? So if you are ready to learn a little bit something, stay tuned. So before we get into some details about the courts that I want to share with you, I wanted you to take in this image of looking at all these brilliant court cards depicted in the Light Seers Tarot. That's the tarot study that we're diving into during our tarot study. And I would invite you to do just this. Lay out all of the courts before you on a table or on the floor or on the bed, wherever is easiest for you, and just take a look at them. Notice the colors. Notice the action that Chris Ann, the creator of this deck, or if you're looking at a different deck, that's okay too. But notice what they're doing in each of the suits. Notice their facial expressions. Even notice what they're wearing if it's a deck that is fully illustrated. Notice any other key like symbols. Like for the King of Wands, there's the lion that's in the background there. You look at what they're doing. If you look at the Knight of Cups, you notice that the color is different, the background color at least, and that horse in the background, you see that horse there. But when you're looking at the whole suit of cups, you see that this particular court card, the Knight of Cups, he's all about love. And with that horse back there, this is about him doing overtures of love and showing affection. This is him pursuing love and pursuing someone, and you see that he's doing these acts of kindness with the blanket on the beach, right? And it looks like he's got it's a romantic picnic on the beach. So he's got roses in his hands. So just take it all in. Look at what each of these characters are doing. Look at it and then maybe isolate just each suit, right? So now you're looking at all of them, and then you say, okay, I'm going to focus today on just the swords or just the pentacles, and seeing what they're doing and getting a feel. Even like with the Knight of Pentacles, he is slowly walking with his shoes off. So of course he has to take deliberate, slow steps, make sure he doesn't hurt himself, right? We got that horse there. There in all of the knights, there's something that moves the knights. In the Knight of Wands, there is the horse in the background. In the Knight of Cups as well, there's a motorcycle. In the Knight of Swords, and then there's another horse in the Knight of Pentacles. With the Knight of Swords, I also pay attention to the fact that he's running away from me. He's not looking at me. He's running away from me. What does that feel like when you're dealing with someone who might be running fast away? And you can see how that could show up in a love reading, right? So don't be intimidated by the court cards. This is a time to get as familiar as possible with them. And I would encourage you to watch the entire series, because we're going to be diving into each of the court cards so you can get familiar with them. But also, especially do the last part of the video, or look at the last video. The last video that I did has a fun exercise that you can do to really ground your understanding of the meanings for each of the court cards and what they mean to you as the reader. All right, now let's dive into that good information I want to share in this introduction video for the court cards. All right, we're back. So here's the thing. Readers have a variety of ways that they work with the court cards, okay? You know, court cards can be interpreted as people in general. So the court cards can represent specific people, okay? Specific people in your life. The court cards can represent yourself, okay? You could also apply the court cards to events and situations happening to someone else. Someone maybe you're reading the cards for or about, or it could be events and situations happening to you. Finally, you can use the court cards or interpret the court cards as significators. Significators are when you intentionally pick out the cards that could represent someone in a reading, okay? Some people just actually pick out the actual court card as a significator, or you could even, if you're like me, I like a more random type of experience with my readings, you could shuffle between all the courts, and then whatever card jumps or whatever card you select, that could represent the person. And then you can look at the reading as in, you know, as a whole, and see how that significator card relates to what's coming up in the rest of the reading, what's coming up in the rest of the cards. So there's some important considerations that I want to share with you. So when you're reading your interpretations, it helps to keep in mind that the meanings may apply in any one or more of these contexts and should be applied to what the querent is asking or seeking. So, you know, again, I'm showing here, you know, the people in general, the specific people in your life, yourself, etc. What this means is that depending on what the seeker or the querent is asking, that's how you are called to interpret and read the court cards or any cards in a reading, for example. It's important to get clear on how you read the courts before you head into a reading. This is going to help imbue the energies with your intentions surrounding how you work with your court cards. So if you're someone like me, you will interpret them on a flexible kind of way where I, just pick up on what's coming up as a whole in the reading and then allow that to direct how I'm going to interpret how I'm using the court cards. So if the reading is kind of leaning towards the direction of we're really just talking about people in general or certain kind of archetypal behaviors that are showing up, then that is what we are going to go with, all right? Here's the thing. The court cards, in my research, could be based on, for example, the Myers-Briggs type indicator, and that's ultimately based on the 16 personality types according to the 4 Jungian functions of sensation, emotion, thinking, and intuition. Okay, so the court cards can indicate archetypal behavior and personality, but it also can indicate how those energies are embodied in that particular situation that you are reading on. So now we're going to explore the courts and their meanings. So keep this in mind about each of the courts. The pages. The pages are generally about learning, wondering, new beginnings, news, actual news, okay? That could be social media, text messages, media, right? It represents students. It can represent discovering and observations and messengers. It also represents beginner's mind, and ultimately in terms of how the pages are embodying a person, it's representing the child, someone who is a child to teens. So then we move on to the knights. The knights are our explorers. They are action-oriented. They seek out challenges. They are driven by a quest. They're investigating, they're endeavoring, they're driven by a goal. And knights are typically young adults in their 20s or 30s. Up next is the queens. Queens are about protecting, nurturing. They're community-oriented. They're very supportive. They're creative. In some instances, they're bold. They are mature, self-assured. They're stable, and they can represent a stable type of energy, right? They're secure. And in terms of embodying a person, they could be midlife in their 40s, 50s, or 60s. And finally, we have the kings. The kings holds wisdom. They're wise. They give wise counsel. They're authoritative. They're a visionary. They're the ones that have the vision, right? They are directors. They delegate. They are confident. They are the ultimate protector. And sometimes if you wanted to envision them, you could envision them as a very mature person, a grandmother, a grandfather. And they are typically 70s or older. Now we're going to get into the wands and some aspects about the wands, because it is important to have an understanding about the different suits or elements and how they're going to play in the role of the courts. So with the wands, this is about creative and spiritual matters, inspiration, drive, ambition, right? Passion, lust, desire. They are productive and imaginative and can be inventive or destructive, okay? The astrological associations are Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius, with the element being fire. For me, the season embodied with the wands is springtime. And for me also, if you work with timing, for me, it's weeks. Why I say for me is because each tarot reader might, feel differently about the season that a particular suit represents or the timing they represent. Now we're up at the cups. The cups represents emotional relationships, heart matters. And their astrological associations are Cancer and Scorpio and Pisces, with the element being water. The season is summer and the timing is days, at least for me. And when you think of the cups, think of feelings, personal relationships, intuition manifested, the magical, healing, and at times can be poisonous. For me, the cups are a fleeting, fickle, and fast-moving energy. Next, we have the swords. The swords is about intellectual and mental matters. And with that comes dreams, your thoughts, fears, anxieties, ideas, words, conversation, confusion, thinking, the act of thinking, mental stress. The element is air. Okay. The astrological associations are Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. And the season, at least for me, is winter time, and the timing for me is months. Last but certainly not least is the Pentacles. The Pentacles deals with physical and monetary matters. And the astrological associations for the Pentacles is Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. The element is earth. The season is autumn for me, and the timing is years. This is a slow moving energy, probably the slowest in all of the suits, okay? It takes a long time for the manifestation of it. Health and money matters, physical beings, career and work, long-term goals. This suit deals with family, home matters, material things, the physical, right? So that's what we associate with the pentacles. And now, my friends, we're going to close this part of the video and we're going to move into the individual suits and their court cards.